Hello there and welcome to SpellForce 3 Fallen God. Some of you may have heard of SpellForce 3 before. It's a game that's been around for a few years, the base game. It's had an expansion, and this is another expansion for it, where you get to play as the trolls, which adds their race and their whole campaign to the game. And they're not just big dumb trolls like how most trolls are depicted in games. They're kind of a tribal kind of trolls. They have laws, they have rituals, they pray to their gods, so a little bit different than your normal troll depiction. Now, if you have no idea what SpellForce 3 is, it's basically an RPG mixed with an RTS, real-time strategy. Think Divinity Original Sin mixed with StarCraft. It's a little bit of both, so we're going to have a look at the game, see what it's all about, see how that works, and you can see what you think of it. If at any point you're interested in checking this game out, there will be a link in the description where you can find out more. And yes, this is a sponsored video, so thanks to THQ Nordic for supporting this channel and allowing me to play this game a little bit early. Rest assured, I wouldn't be showing you this if I didn't think it was worth your time. I've been thoroughly enjoying it, and I think some of you will too. Now, allow me to set the scene a little bit of the story, as it is one of the strongest points. You're playing as the Moonkin tribe, who are a troll tribe pretty much on their last legs, as well as a bunch of other troll tribes. They've been hunted by elven poachers, among other things, so they're on the run, and they're struggling to survive. And to make matters worse, their chieftain, their leader, was killed recently, which has thrust one of our characters, Akrog, into the spotlight, as he has become the new nominated leader of the tribe. But he's not really ready for it. A lot of his troll bros are doubting him, so he's got to try and prove himself as a worthy leader of the tribe. So that's the gist of it anyway. I don't want to give any spoilers, so I won't tell you any more. And I should also mention with this as well, it's a standalone expansion to SpellForce 3, so you don't need to have played the original SpellForce 3 to know what's going on in this, because it's kind of different. It's just all the same universe, different story, different characters, yada yada. Anyway, let's get into it, and I'll show you some gameplay and stop just showing you goddamn cinematics. Let's do it. So, from the start of the game, we'll have a bit of customization, as you would expect with an RPG. You get to customize the four main characters that you'll be playing as. Only a little bit though, you don't get full customization, but you can change how they look a little bit if you want to, which is always a really nice touch. You can also customize their class as well. For most of them, you can choose what they are. If they're a melee character, if they're a ranged character, a healer, caster, whatever, you get to choose. And there is stat points as well, attribute points you can see in the bottom right there, strength, dexterity, all that usual stuff. You get to put points into that to decide how you want to build the character. So there's some kind of building involved, which is always fun with RPGs. There are some presets as well though, if you're not too much into that. But yeah, we get some customization over the characters, which is nice. They are actual characters with personalities as well, so we can't change them too much, but what we can do is enough, I think. As for the four characters themselves, they are really good characters. They're all kind of very different. You've got Akrog, who's that chosen leader who's trying to prove himself, show that he's a good leader of the tribe. We got Grungwa, who's kind of the tribe elder, very wise, very calm, a good kind of counsel to Akrog. And then we got Zaska, who's a bit of a hard ass, a bit grumpy, but he's reliable, he's dependable, someone you want on your side. And then probably the most interesting character is Noag, the big fella at the end. He's the strongest troll in the tribe. He's got the chieftain's blood running through his veins, so he's kind of a little bit special, but he's very young and kind of a bit dumb and naive, very emotional, loses his temper a bit too easily. So he needs guidance, which is kind of Akrog's role, and there's a mechanic in the game where the decisions and the things that you do in the game affect Noag, and they teach him stuff, which in turn changes the abilities that will be on his skill tree. So if you go around acting like an aggressive, vengeful arsehole all the time, that's what he'll learn, and that's how he'll learn to be. If you go around being patient and respectful, that's what he'll learn, and that's how he'll be. So it'll affect him as a character. I'm not sure how it turns out. I'm not that far into the game, but it's a really interesting mechanic, I think. For the RPG side, we've got all the stuff you might expect from most RPGs. We've got a bag, we've got items, we've got loot that we find around the map, some of which is equipable. This, of course, increases our stats and our DPS and our health and whatnot. So we build the characters up with the stuff we find as we move through the campaign. And then we've got all our abilities that all our characters have, depending on their class and their role, whether they're a tank, whether they're DPS, whether they're healer. We can use these as we move through all the different combat situations. And it is real-time combat. It's not turn-based or anything like Divinity. It is all real-time. So yeah, you can get quite in-depth with all the stuff. This is some of the skill trees here. You can choose what paths you like, mess around with those attribute points, min-max if you're into that sort of stuff. So yeah, we got some depth there, which is always fun in these kind of RPG games. So we've got all the usual RPG elements in there, and they've been adjusted well to fit the RTS style gameplay, I think. I want to show you now just a little bit of dialogue, just to show you some of the great voice acting that's going on, because that is a real strength of this game so far, and the story I've found is really enthralling, and I've really gotten involved in it. So yeah, here's a little bit of dialogue and a few choices. You can see you get to make conversational choices and ask questions and things like that. So yeah, have a look. Although I should say that they all speak in third person, so if it sounds a bit weird, that's why.
Why would a Brittlebone help the Moonkin?
Grungwar wonders the same thing.
Well, that is what they are here to find out. Zaska asked him the same question, though, and the stranger told him he stands to gain as much from this as the Moonkin.
100 Moonkin tusks.
All right. Anuk, make camp here and bring in the others. If they are not back by sundown, flee and find somewhere safe. Akrog has spoken.
If only there is a safe place. But Anuk understand.
Good then. Grungwar, Zaska, Littleblood, come. Time to find out what this stranger's wild plan is.
So there you go, a little bit of a scene, a little bit of the voice acting. I think it's really well done. It's always nice to have an RPG with full voice acting and not just reading text all the time. And you may have noticed that Noag mechanic coming up there where I influenced him by my decision that I made. So a little bit of that mechanic coming into play. So the game will go between this kind of gameplay where you get just the 4 characters running around, moving through the story. I'm not going to show you too much of this so I don't spoil the story, but this is where you'll be using your abilities. You'll be getting into the RTS side of just a kind of a small group, which gives it that dungeon crawler type feel. My party's currently set up with Noag being the tank of the group. He's got a shield, he's up front taunting the enemies. I've got Akrog as my DPS, up close and personal. Then I've got Zaska as ranged DPS. You can see him stood furthest away there. And then Grungwar, my caster and healer, is also stood a little bit back. So I've kind of got my roles in place for each of the different characters. You can make some of them kind of aggressively attack and some of them stay back or stay in position a bit more. So there are some nice simple commands to keep everyone under control. So that's some of the kind of small scale RTS mixed in with the RPG stuff. And then at some points in the campaign, you'll move to full RTS, where you'll have a little base to manage. You'll be able to construct buildings. They'll gather resources. That'll fund your armies. You can see I've got a tree chopper there, a stone breaker here. You can see this little fella hard at work for the tribe, gathering stone. What else have we got? Hunting hut down here, gathering food for the tribe. So you'll be constructing all these buildings, trying to gather all the resources. You can see in the bottom right corner there. And that'll be used just to make our base bigger, so we can build more buildings, get more resources, get bigger armies, more troops, so we can get whatever it is done that we need to do for the level. So this is one of the early experiences of the RTS stuff in full, so it's going to be quite simple, not going to be too hard, but we're going to have a go at this real quick. We're going to blaze through just a little bit of it, not going to do the whole thing. I've got my main party here ready to push on with all my troops. And then I've got a bunch of different units going on here. I've got these kind of frontline melee units, good for smashing enemy infantry. And then I've got some wall breakers here. You can imagine what they're good for with their battering rams, smashing down buildings. And then I've got a few ranged units as well. I've got some kind of slingers over here. Although I'm going to upgrade these into spike throwers, so they basically become javelin men. So yeah, that's all the troops I've got at the moment. I'm going to build a few more, and then we're going to get ready to move out. I've got my main party who are going to go with this and try and support them. And then I've got some iron beaks as well. So we've got all our different unit types. They've all got different roles within the army, much like most strategy games, Total War especially. They're going to have different matchups, other units that they're good against. So we're going to push into this forest and try to get rid of the local orcs that have been chasing us down. Just need to train up a few more troops and then I am good to go. Alright, we're moving up. I'm going to send in the Iron Beaks first to try and scout ahead, as they are very fast flying units. Not really sure if they're great for melee. Haven't really figured that out yet. Going to use them to see what's around. There's some orcs right in front of us. So there's a bunch of different races in the game as well. There's humans, there's elves, dark elves, dwarfs, orcs. Obviously, it's kind of akin to Lord of the Rings, I would say, in terms of the races in the game and kind of how they are with each other. So a pretty familiar setting that we all know and love, I'm sure. And there's different modes in the game. You've got the single player like I'm playing now. You can also play these campaigns co-op as well, which is pretty cool. You can play with a couple of friends. And there is a multiplayer as well, which is just pretty much just in a kind of multiplayer RTS. Gonna move in now anyway, get into some orcs. There's only a few around here. I've got to learn to micro this stuff a bit more. I need to figure out how to do groups and kind of set my groups up a little bit more, because right now I'm just charging everyone in. Bunch of gobbo archers coming in over here. The buildings are firing at me. I'm trying to set some troops to smash buildings and some to smash infantry. It's going to be a little bit of a mess until I figure out how to use all the control groups. But I think we can still get stuff done. I'm trying to get healing with Grunwar as well. My healer, my caster. He can help everyone out, trying to keep everyone alive. Get rid of these gobbo archers. Let's get some on this building. The sooner we can smash these buildings shooting at us, the better. And I'm not even at full capacity here. I could make my army a bit bigger than this, but I just haven't taken the time. Got to see how I do with this big an army. There's a couple of wyverns flying around there. Need to get my javelins on those. Nearly smashed this building down. And it's quite micro-intensive, more so than Total War. I think you have to be really fast. It's not the kind of RTS style that I'm used to. I do enjoy it though. It's just going to take some learning to really get the speed of this kind of RTS, and everything's running off all the time trying to attack stuff because I've got them on attack orders. If I don't put them on attack orders, then they just kind of stand there. So you've got to kind of learn to manage it all. Like I said, I just need some experience at it, I think. We've taken up this building. This now allows us to take this outpost here. Once we build this, we can now build more stuff around this and expand ourselves even further. And all the different races have different playstyles as well. The trolls apparently need to be aggressive and need to expand quickly. That's their playstyle. That's how they best operate. For the elves, it's going to be a bit different. For the humans, it might be different. For the dwarfs, it might be different. So all the different factions and races have their different playstyles. I haven't tried them all yet, but I've messed around with a couple. But for the most part, I've been playing the trolls. And to be honest, they kind of suit me. Aggressive expansionist is my kind of bag, to be honest. Gonna fall back for now anyway. Build this little hut. I think I'll maybe try and build some warrior buildings around here so I can make more troops and have them in close supply, because my other ones are quite far away. Chuck one there. That's a hitting camp. Gonna build a watchtower over here as well. Troops are going a bit crazy there, a bit too close together. Oh, okay, just got straight away blown up. There's some watchtowers right here. Okay, that doesn't work. Okay, go and take the watchtowers out then. These damn dirty orcs. So these little watchtowers fire arrows down, flaming arrows apparently. We need to commit everything to taking out these towers, then we can build our stuff. We can keep pushing through, just keep smashing buildings. It's difficult, I'm finding, to try and use all the character abilities as well of my 4 main characters in amongst managing all this other stuff. It's a lot to micro. Like I said, I just got to learn it, I think. If you got any tips on how to play these games better for those of you who play these kind of RTSs, do let me know. Now, as I said, link in the description if you want to check this game out. If you do want to play this game, though, for free, you can, in a very limited form. There is a multiplayer version of the game, SpellForce 3 Fallen God Versus Edition. There'll only be a handful of factions and they'll be chosen randomly for you, but you can at least have a go at the game in multiplayer and see what you think. That will release at the same time as the Fallen God expansion, which is November 3rd, which is basically now. So if you want to have a go at the game for free, check that out. They have put some work into the multiplayer as well, as there is a ranked mode, PvP stuff. There's also mod creation for this game as well, which is pretty cool. I'm sure some people could do some interesting stuff with that. So yeah, the game's got a lot going for it. I've been really enjoying it. The campaign apparently is like 20 to 30 hours, so there's some decent stuff there for an expansion. Remember, this isn't a full game, this is just an expansion. There is the SpellForce 3 full game. If you like the look of the game but you're not that into trolls, maybe you want to play humans or elves, you can go and get SpellForce 3 instead. Or there's another expansion, Soul Harvest, which brings dark elves to the table, I think. So it has a lot to offer. Overall, I've really been enjoying this troll campaign. I'm going to see it through. Maybe I'll go back and play SpellForce 3, the main game, maybe Soul Harvest 2 once I get done with that, because I have been really enjoying this game and I don't know why I haven't really played it before, to be honest, because it's right up my street. My troll boys here have finished smashing those orcs that were nearby, that little camp that was near us. Try to get some healing on all this stuff. It's all running off all over the place, trying to kill the goblin archers. There was another camp on the hill though with a couple of watchtowers. We're going to heal up and then go and have another crack at that. Keep expanding as fast as we can. We're doing alright on the resources. Just going to keep going. And then once we get through this kind of RTS section where it is full on RTS, I imagine we'll be back to the more kind of linear story levels where we're focusing more on the plot and the story of the campaign. So it's a nice blend of the two. I've been enjoying the pace. It's been mostly linear up to this point. This is one of the first experiences of proper RTS stuff, so it's not been too punishing for the hard difficulty. Well, it teaches me how all of this works. If you're a big fan of RTS games and you play a lot of it though, it'll probably feel very familiar to you. But yeah, there we go. This has been SpellForce 3 Fallen God. It is out November 3rd, as I mentioned. I'm just going to gather my boys here, then we're going to push up the hill, try to take out these watchtowers, and then we're going to call it a day. We got one little fresh recruit here. Going to send him over to the hitting camp so he can become a better troop. And then we're going to push up this hill, 2 watchtowers there. I think there's some buildings further up there. We'll have to have a look. Let's get moving, I reckon. We need to take this camp here as well so we can expand a little bit more. Oh, bunch of gobos there, look. Let's get rid of these goblins. Absolutely smashing them to pieces. I want to try and push up this hill nice and quick. Don't want to stand in front of those 2 watchtowers for too long. They're already raining down on us. Let's go. Get the tower, get the tower. One of our wall breakers is smashing it already. There's some wargs there. Warg Riders for the Orcs. Gonna drop some healing in the middle of all this. Hopefully that can keep my boys in the fight. Got a couple of big buildings around. Those Wargs are proving tough. Nearly got rid of one of the watchtowers though. Come on, lads. There we go, killed some Wargs. Freeing up a bit of space now. Let's finish off this watchtower. Why did we not kill that? Oh, there's this big building left. I feel like we're getting a bit hammered. We might need to pull back and live to fight another day. Let's try and finish off this watchtower first. Come on. There we go. Okay, fall back, fall back. We need to heal. And we'll come back for another round in a moment. This has been SpellForce 3 Fallen God. Thanks for watching, people. I hope you've enjoyed this. I will see you in Zipio.